Hey guys, welcome to Flicks Talk. So this is what we're going to do today. We're going to do something fun, alright? At least it's going to be fun to me. So maybe it'll be fun to you. So let's turn back the clock. Let's go and get in a time machine and let's go back 40 years to 1983, okay? So 1983, that's where we're going. So let's get in our time capsule and our time machine and let's just go. So in 1983, how old were you? What were you doing? I was 8 and I was in elementary school. Anyway, so fun facts here. The cost of living in 83, let me just go ahead and start some of this. Ronald Reagan was the president of the United States. The cost of a new home was $82,000. The average income was $21,000. A new car cost $8,000. The average rent was about $335 a month. Movie ticket, $250. I'll take it. I want that back today. $250 for a movie ticket. Gas was $1.17 a gallon, and a postage stamp 20 cents. Let's do some food. Now I know we definitely want these prices back. Definitely. Sugar for 5 pounds was 90 cents. Milk was $2.19 a gallon. Coffee was $2.35 a pound. I remember my mom getting some of that. You can get either the beans or the grindings, and she would fill up a bag. I remember that. Eggs. Eggs are outrageous right now. In 1983, 40 years ago, 55 cents for a dozen. Let's get that back now. If they did that for like one day, it would be like concert tickets. Sold out less than an hour. Worldwide, or at least nationwide. With the prices of eggs. Woo! And of course stores would limit, 2 to 3 dozen, and that's it. So hey, get 3 dozen for less than $2? Heck yeah, man. Anyway, there's other things that happened in 83, but let's get to why you are here, right? This is Flicks Talk. Let's talk about movies. So this is what I did. I found this website, and it has some really cool numbers. So what I did was, 40 years ago in 1983, I wrote down, this is 40 years ago. I didn't really go back then. Anyway, so in 1983, the top 10 highest grossing films, some of them leaked in 84. There's one that actually came out in 82, which still ended up being in the top 10. But anyway, I have the tickets sold, the gross, studio that put it out. So here we go. Number 10, selling 19 million tickets, grossing $61 million. Put out by Warner Brothers. A movie that was written by John Hughes. You got Chevy Chase, Beverly D'Angelo, Anthony Michael Hall, Randy Quaid. You know what movie it is. The National Lampoon's Vacation at number 10. Number 9. 20 million tickets were sold. Grossed 63 million. Put out by Warner Brothers. Probably this is the first biggest hit, I would say, of Tom Cruise's Risky Business. Now some of these numbers have the same. I just took the million. Just go ahead and say I just took the million. All these made a little bit over, but not, like Risky Business made 63 million. It didn't make 64. I just chose not to do the hundreds of thousands numbers. But at number 8, once again, selling 20 million tickets, grossing 63 million, just like Risky Business. Put out by Paramount, though, which actually is the number 1 studio of this top 10 because it has 3 movies. Sequel to Saturday Night Fever, directed by Sylvester Stallone, starring John Travolta and Cynthia Rhodes. Staying Alive at number 8. Number 7. 20 million tickets sold, grossing $64 million. Put out by 20th Century Fox. The Future. I'm Batman. Michael Keaton as Mr. Mom. At number 7. Number 6 is one of the James Bond movies. I hope I'm going to pronounce this right, because I don't, anyway, never saw this one. 21 million tickets sold, grossing 67 million. Put out by MGM Studios. Octopussy. See, I don't like that name. Top 5 highest grossing films for 1983. 23 million tickets sold, grossing 74 million. Put out by MGM Studios. Matthew Broderick, Ali Sheedy, and War Games. 28 million tickets sold for this one. 90 million, it grossed 90 million. Put out by Paramount Studios, or Pictures. You have Dan Aykroyd, Eddie Murphy, Jamie Lee Curtis, and Trading Places. Top 3, guys. 28 million tickets sold, grossing 90 million. Put out by Paramount Pictures. Jennifer Beals and Flashdance. Let's talk about Jennifer real quick, shall we? I don't know if I said this in another video, but if I have, I'm going to say it again. This is how she came about getting that role as Alex in Flashdance. She was flying somewhere and had a layover in New York City. So what did she do during her layover? She went to an audition. And she got a movie role. Flashdance. Ta-da! Yeah, but I will always remember her in the L Word as Bet Porter. It's just, she still looks really good to be in her 60s. It's like, she does not look like she's in her 60s. Anyway, 43 million tickets sold for this next one, grossing $136 million. Sony Pictures put this one out, and this one actually came out in 1982, but it leaked over in 83. So, but it's still, even though it came out in 82, to being the second highest grossing film of 83, it did some major numbers. And it's when Dustin Hoffman was dressing up in drag in Tootsie. Second one. So the number 1 movie, the highest grossing film of 1983, big movie, came out in 83. What movie do you think it was? You know what movie it was. Come on, shout it out. Check out these numbers, shall we? Selling 79 million tickets, grossing $249 million. Put out by 20th Century Fox. The smartest studio right there. Is, if you said or guessed Star Wars Episode 6, Return of the Jedi, you are correct. That was the highest grossing film of 1983, and it also leaked over in 84, so it made even more money in 84. Ta-da! Now me, backtrack for a second. So what I did was, those are the top 10. I also did like the least grossing film, and it was ranked, 179. So I guess 179 movies, or at least, since they had Tootsie in 82 there, and they had a few other films that came out in 82 or 83 or whatever. Anyway, at 179, this movie is the lowest grossing one I never heard of. I didn't even look it up, so I don't know anything about it. Selling 7,000 tickets and only grossing $24,000, put out by Warner Brothers, is Better Late Than Never. Have y'all seen that movie? Have you heard of it? Who's in it? Without me going and looking it up. Do you know? Because I don't. Well, me being a horror fan, what I did was I got the only five highest grossing horror films of 83. And so this is what I did. I kind of had to look, and I even put their ranking. So the 56th highest grossing film of 83 was a horror, and it sold 4 million tickets, earning 13 million, or grossing 13 million. put out by Sony Pictures, but this movie also leaked into 84, so it made even more money because it came out actually in December of 83, and grossing all this in December and like just in a few weeks, and being at 56 out of 179, it's incredible. Yeah, a movie based on a Stephen King book, directed by John Carpenter, and I tell you what, you don't want to make this car mad, okay? Christine. Next is ranking number 34 as the 34th highest grossing film of 83, also being a horror. Selling 6 million tickets, earning or grossing 21 million. Put out by Warner Brothers. Is another Stephen King book movie, has Dee Wallace in it, trapped in this car, trying to save her son from being attacked by this rabid Saint Bernard Cujo. Alright. That was at number 34. Now number 25, ranking the 25th highest grossing. Selling 9 million tickets and grossing $29 million. Put out by Warner Brothers. Is a movie that was actually based on a television series by Rod Serling. Twilight Zone, the movie. Selling 10 million tickets. Grossing $32 million. Put out by Universal. A sequel. Long-awaited sequel. 23 years long awaiting sequel. Luckily, they had some original cast members from 1960 to come back and reprise their roles. So, what do you think this movie is? And it is a sequel. You got Anthony Perkins and Vera Miles reprising their roles from 1960's Psycho and Psycho 2. Alright. And that was ranked at number 23. The 23rd highest grossing film of 83 was Psycho 2. Alright, here's the number 1, the highest grossing horror film of 1983. And it was ranked 18. The 18th highest grossing film of 83 was a horror film, and it was this one. Selling 13 million tickets, grossing $42 million, put out by Universal, is actually a sequel, but it was a part 3. This time, though, instead of being in an ocean, it takes place in a water park. Jaws 3D. Highest grossing film. Horror film of 83, Jaws 3D. Now, the lowest grossing horror film of 1983 was ranked 176. Only selling 15,000 tickets, earning $49,000. Put out by New World, was The Prey. I know there's been other Prey movies, but I've never seen that one. So, anyway. One little thing. I'm going to go ahead and go over this. This movie initially came out in 82, but it did leak into 83. So I'm just going to go ahead. It spent 15 years as the highest grossing film of all time. So that is why I am going to go ahead and go over this movie right now. Steven Spielberg's movie. With Drew Barrymore, Dee Wallace, Henry Thomas, E.T. the Extraterrestrial. Came out in March of 1982, and it grossed $321 million, selling 109 million tickets in 82. Its leakage in 83, because, this movie probably stayed out a year or so, or a little bit over a year, obviously, reached 83. In 83, it earned $37 million and sold 11 million tickets. So, and of course, they had, in 2002, a re-release, so it even added even more money and more tickets sold. So that just kind of gives you an idea. But right now, though, if you look at today's numbers, E.T., I think is still in the top 20 highest grossing films, but it's not in the top 10. I actually, like, back in the 90s, 30 years ago, Steven Spielberg had like 8 movies in the top 50 highest grossing films. Now he has like 2, and that's E.T. and I think Jurassic Park, and that is it. Those are the only 2 I think of his films that are in the top 50 highest grossing films as of today. So, and to me, you know, because back then I was like, who is the most successful director? At the time, it was him, because he had more than any other director in the top 50 highest grossing films. Now, I think I would have to say, I think in the top 10, there's at least 3 by James Cameron. So right now, even with his new Avatar movie out, which I thought wasn't going to do good at all, is like already the 10th highest grossing film of all time. And Avatar, the first one that came out in 2009, is still like number 4. And then of course Titanic's in there. So is in the top 10. So yeah, you know, him having 3 movies in the top 10, I would say he's probably the most successful director. James Cameron. So anyway, those are my numbers for 83, 40 years ago. Kind of give you a little bit of, you know, other fun facts I kind of read. I didn't really write down. I wasn't going to get into it, but I'll go ahead and say a little bit. And like in fashion, they had shoulder pads and jelly shoes. Toys were like the Cabbage Patch dolls. It was crazy back then, y'all. People were like, I remember watching those commercials and hearing the news reports even back then. My goodness, parents did anything and everything to get their child a Cabbage Patch doll. Oh, man. So I have one, but I got one as an adult, not back in 83. No. Thriller came out, became a major hit in 83. So, I mean, there you go, some music. Mainly, I do movies, so just throw in a little bit information. There's websites you can go on, and it just tells you what toys were big then, and fashion, and boy and girl names. So, well, you know, were the top names, which I forgot now. But, so it was just, yeah, the first woman, I believe, the 3rd overall, but the first woman astronaut went on the Challenger mission. She did something special. So, yeah, so 83, 40 years ago. Can I believe 83 was 40 years ago? And talking about the movies. So, I know 84 was a massive year for movies. I don't know if I should wait till next year to do that, or I could probably do it later on, but it's a massive year because it had big movies. So, but the number, well, this is how much money the movies made in general. Overall, the whole total was over $2 billion. That's how much the movies grossed in 83. In today's standards, that's pretty much nothing, I think. You know, let's like times it by 5 or so, and that's probably how much they earn now. I didn't go and click till like last year or whatever, but on this website, but $2 billion, I believe 84 also made over $2 billion as well. I don't think it reached the $3 billion, but it was over $2 billion. Just made a little bit more. 83 and 84 were almost even, but I think 84 edged out because it had some big hits in 84. So, yeah, those are big hits too in 83. So that's my episode for this week. I just thought I would go back, let's go back, 40 years ago. It's kind of crazy. If I met like Jennifer Beals, I would ask her, hey, how does it feel? your movie, big movie, probably the biggest movie she's ever been in, Flashdance, turned 40 this year. How do you feel? Anyway. So, yeah, that's kind of interesting, going through, looking at what kind of stuff, how much stuff cost, and what they made. Oh, and also, I think, and if you go back to 50 years ago, in 73, not as many movies came out. I don't think 50 movies even came out in 73. But the number one movie, highest grossing movie in 73, came out in December 26th of 73. So it had 6 days. And in those 6 days, it became the highest grossing film. And it ended up being a horror film. And if you know what movie that is, then great. And if not, then The Exorcist. Highest grossing movie of 73. And it was released December 26th, the day after Christmas. 6 days! Earned like, what, 139 million, I think, in 6 days. That's, I mean, I've seen the news, footage on YouTube and stuff, you know, clips on that they play on TV. Massive lines and hysteria. All that stuff, as I said, I think last week when I touched on The Exorcist a little bit. So, yeah. But see, when I was gathering information, they gave me also, if a movie came out in 82, and like Tootsie did, they gave me numbers for 83, so it was listed on both years. Exorcist was not added in 74, because you know, it was still showing in 74 somewhere, but I didn't have any numbers for 74. It only had numbers for 73, but you can click on the movie, and then it tells you exactly how much money it made, I think, in addition to all the other releases that it had since 73, the past 50 years. So, and I can go over that too. I can go over 50 years ago, which I said the number one movie, The Exorcist, was 73, 73, 50 years ago. Maybe I should do 53, 1953. I'm quite sure, let's see. I don't know if I'll go back that far, but I can look. But let's see, if I did 1953, it'd be a sci-fi movie, or a musical, or it could be a western that would be a top grossing film. That's interesting, 53. Maybe I'll look that up. Let's go back even further. Let's go back 70 years. Whoa, that's 70 years. Anyway, yeah. I can go back 100 years to 1923. Wow, yeah. I should have done a special last year on Nosferatu. It came out in 1922. Oh, well. I can still do it this year. 101. Okay, thanks for watching, guys. And those are the numbers. I know this is kind of more like almost a boring episode, just giving you a whole bunch of numbers. But hey, I just thought I'd just throw that out there. Little time machine, fun facts, numbers. Try to spell it out to be kind of animated. Hey! Anyway, thanks, guys. See you later. You be good. Behave yourself. Don't do anything I wouldn't do. I'm not saying